So, what are the Akashic Records? The Akashic Records are your soul's journey through all the lifetimes you've had. Now, I know that sounds amazing. Before you get really excited and think of it as some amazing book which has all the stories you have ever had, it doesn't really work like that. The easiest way I can describe them is they're like a journal, and every time you have an experience which gives you a great feeling or a bad feeling, you go and write about it in your journal. Now, we've talked about all the emotions we go through as humans, and this book, if you like, is indexed as that. They're stored on what's called a resonance field. A resonance field is like when you hit a drum and it makes that noise, it reverberates. So, now let's think of an average day and how many big emotions you've had on that day. They will all be in your records, all stored on the resonance field. So, let's take a look at my records. Now, I hate to disappoint you, but they are all amazing stories of I was Cleopatra or Napoleon. Most of them that I've seen, I've been a peasant. So, how did I feel as a peasant for the most part? I seemed relatively content, but the ones that show up are where we feel a bit downtrodden or lower class. So, how could that be showing up in my life today? I could feel I can't achieve higher status and that it'll never get better than this. Wow, sucks to be me, right? Now, I know how to clear my records of this emotion, so I know I can achieve anything I set my mind to. That's not exactly a peasant mentality, is it? So, let's look at another example of how these old records can surface in our present reality. You could just go the opposite way. I have never gone into someone's records without their permission. Just because I can, I feel it's totally unethical and would never do it. So if you ever book a session with me and ask me to do it, no, it'll always be a no. And it makes me feel awkward to say it, so please don't. It's like reading someone else's diary. So another loop we can see is an oppression loop, where in the previous life, like mine, I was a peasant and vowed never to be that way again. So in this life, I become the total opposite. So rather than being oppressed, I become an oppressor. I've read a book by Gordon Ramsay, and he had very humble beginnings where he could have been seen as oppressed. He then rose to stardom, and now he shouts at people on TV for a living. So is he an oppressor? Did he just vow to never be in that situation he grew up in again? So that's not his records. Like I said, I wouldn't do that, but it could be in theory, the same loop I am sitting with. It's a great book and it's called Humble Pie if you want to give it a read. So these are just examples of the loops that sit on a resonance field, and there are lots of different ones which can come into this lifetime from previous ones. So we need to clear the emotions out of them to clear the record. Sounds simple, and it really is, but there's always more to the story. So what holds these in place? Contracts and chords. What are contracts and chords? Contracts are exactly what they sound like. We agree to do something forever. Forgetting forever is a really long time. So let's talk about a contract and a chord. You see them a lot in this work. You're in a marriage, and when you split it ends badly. The person will not leave you alone and you want nothing more to do with them. You might still have to see them for, say, childcare. But when you do, it's an emotional overload. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. It's just you want them gone and they won't go. You and your friends had a bonfire and you burnt your marriage contract. The divorce is through. Why can they still push your buttons? Okay, so you cleared the contract for this lifetime, but what about others? Do you know how many times people vow to love each other and be together forever? That, my friend, is a contract. Oops. So when you come back down to this plane, you do so at similar times so you can keep playing out the same story, because the contract's in place. So what do you do now? You come to someone like me to work in your Akashics who looks for what the problem is. After talking to you, we rescind the contract, it's gone. Your emotions will then calm down around the person. The other option is you can learn to do it for yourself. I'm a big believer in the old saying, give a man a fish and he can feed his family for a day, teach a man to fish and he can feed his family for a lifetime. If you do want to learn how to do this for yourself, drop me a message and I can recommend the course I took. It's a really good one, or if you want me to do it, you can always book with me or anyone else that works in the records to clear it down for you. So what else is there? We have these resonance fields which hold emotions in place and can surface in our current life. We have contracts which we took out because it seemed like a really good idea at the time. When I say contracts, that also means for all vows, oaths, binding, and lots of other fun things we agreed to. The final thing we have in our records are chords. So what are chords? Chords are like the cords of energy that run between us and the people in our lives. They're the reason we feel so connected to people sometimes. There's a cord of energy running between you, keeping that connection going. So we sometimes need to remove the cords if we feel we're being drained by a person. I already have a meditation on YouTube for energy recall, which has a cord removing exercise integrated in it. So give that a whirl if you feel like it. So when you remove the cords, clear the contracts and the emotions can be released, will the other person know? Yes, they probably will notice. We aren't going into their records and removing them, but with the resonance field no longer being held in place, they won't have the same draw to your energetic connections maybe they once did. If they've been draining your energy for a while, it can feel like a big disconnect for them. That's not a bad thing though, as if you still wanted them in your life, you wouldn't be going through the effort of removing them from your Akashic Records. There's one warning I'll give you. Once it's gone, it's gone. It's gone for good, unless you go through the same vow or make the same promise again in this lifetime. But why would you want to do that though? So that's it for this short What is Energy Healing course I've been putting out here on YouTube. If you have questions, you can leave them in the comments below, or alternatively you can reach out to me on my Facebook page, which is Awaken Healing, as is my website, awakenhealing.co. You can also reach out to me there if you would like to book a session. I will be releasing meditations to go along with this course, including one for the Akashic Records, so if you wanted to go in there and have a look around for yourself, that could be a fun thing for you to try out. The energy in there is something else. So thank you for coming along on the ride for this course. I hope you got something out of it. I hope it answered some questions, because one of the biggest ones I get is, well, what do you actually do? If you feel I taught you anything, give this video a like, and please subscribe to my channel for new content, which I'll be bringing out soon on the